Hello, guys. Am I audible? I'm not quite sure of it, but if you guys can probably like give a heads up. Hello, anybody here? Okay, great. So let's just wait for people to join. Like let's just wait for a couple more people to join so that we can start with the session. You can like ask your friends to start joining, and that way we'll be able to um, start. I hope there's not much disturbance in my voice. Anyway, so I was hoping to talk a little bit about like the whole job scenario in the mobile development market, and like how as a mobile developer you can get internships at startups and stuff, and what kind of tech stack you can use with it, um, with your mobile apps, what kind of framework you should use to sort of develop your apps, in what scenarios, what kind of use cases you should use something. So we're going to be discussing that today, and yeah, like let's just wait for like one more minute and then we like definitely start. So if I can get like a heads up from people who are here, so that I know that there are like some active people listening to the stream. Just like drop a quick hi or a yes or something in the YouTube chat, and like we can like be as interactive as we want, since there are not many people. And I mean, we could have kept this session on Discord as well, but the only thing is that we need a record of it, and recording sessions and then uploading them is just it's not very it's not very feasible. But in any case, I think okay, there's Hina. Hi. So, all right, I guess let's just not waste any more time. I mean, this is going to be a very short session, and people can catch up later with it as well. We are not that concerned with the live viewers because it's going to be very short. Um, so basically, like in this session, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the job market, in mobile app development in general, and yeah. So basically, like how exactly as a mobile developer you can get a job at a startup. So the current scenario right now is that Usually startups, if someone has an idea and they want to implement it, they usually want to make an app out of it rather than a website, because an app is a more accessible thing, and you can use an app quite easily, and every user can use an app quite easily, and it is quite like simplistic and uh, pretty amazing, I would say. It's a great feature. Like it's like there's a lot of things that can be done within an app which can't be done using a website, because using a website on a mobile is quite inconvenient, and usually most users prefer using mobile phones rather than their laptops to access some tech kind of stuff. So most of the people who have certain ideas in their head, they want to implement a mobile app for that. So in order to get a job as a mobile app developer, usually what happens is that these days people are opting more for Flutter app development rather than the native Android or native iOS app development. The reason being is that Flutter is a cross-platform framework, and with one code base, you can make different kinds of applications. You can make an iOS, make an Android application with one single code base, and now it also, like Flutter also has extended functionality to make websites, and also to make desktop apps these days. So which is pretty cool actually. Like just one code base, you can like build for so many different platforms. And I mean, obviously that is like a very reasonable choice, I would say, and it reduces your time into half. You don't have to worry about thinking about like, oh, I'll have to make another app for iOS users, so you can't exactly cater to like a whole bunch of users if you're just doing Android development. Even though the point of Android study jams is basically to advocate about Android development in general, but there are certain use cases where Flutter is not the optimal choice for mobile app development. So things like if you want to use something like if you want to capture real time data from Android devices, usually like if it's on a larger scale, I mean, you can do it with Flutter as well, but there are many background activities, coroutines, and there are a lot of fancy things that Flutter applications can't do, which only native Android or native iOS can do. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind while selecting which framework you want to go to. And Yeah, okay. So basically, like I'll talk a little bit more about Flutter. So Flutter is a relatively easier language to learn than Kotlin or any other Java or Swift, which is used for iOS development. So Flutter usually uses a programming language called Dart, and what I feel is that obviously it is very easy for development, relatively easier for people who've already worked with a programming language earlier, and it won't take you a lot of time to spin up a good Flutter app, and a very beautiful Flutter app. It has many important, very many like many features which are not which ease up your development process basically. And I am essentially a Flutter developer, and I work at a startup called Bottle. I've worked at almost four startups as a Flutter developer, and basically in all of these startups, so I'm currently in third year, and you might be thinking ki how did I land up those internships or those jobs. So basically, number one step was that I kept my LinkedIn profile very much updated, and my GitHub as well. I also like worked on a Flutter app myself in college as a part of a startup before, and basically once you have certain experience to back you up, people won't question you, or like once they like see your work, they will hire you almost immediately. There's not a lot of unless there's a lot of competition for that role. Usually for startup roles, the only thing that you need to do is like keep your LinkedIn profile updated, keep your stuff updated, uh, try to communicate with people in your LinkedIn network, try to post stuff, be it related to Android development. It's good if it's related to Android development, like app development in general, but think about these things, and make sure that you like do a little bit more research on the kind of stipends that are offered to mobile app developers, for Flutter developers, for Android developers. And there are many aspects that you need to consider, uh, especially the backend options, because the Kotlin and Flutter, all these things are just like on the front end. These are the things that people interact with. I mean, these are definitely the most important parts, but the actual working is on the back end, on the back end part. Obviously, it is very easy for, no, I won't say easy, because I mean it would be easy for me, might not be easier for other people. But it is relatively easier to sort of integrate stuff from the back end to the front end, especially when you're using options like Firebase. Now, if you've heard of Firebase, then I'm pretty sure you have some experience in app development, because I mean that is usually the first backend option that people tend to explore when they're like getting into app development in general. But Firebase is kind of a, like, it's a database, and it has a lot of different features along with it. You can do deployment with Firebase. You can do, like, you can, if you have a ML model or something and you want to deploy it on your on your mobile app, you can do that using Firebase. You can do A/B testing, which is basically like trying to understand which feature is more suitable for the user. So an example of A/B testing would be when Instagram released their feature of where to put the reels while I explore button. So those kind of things, they tried to experiment with it. They tried different positions, and then they saw which position or which placement is more convenient, and which placement was more like which had more positive feedback from users. So those kind of things they take into account, and they give two separate features to two different sets of people in different locations, and they try to see which ones are more effective, and which ones make the user experience much better. So these kind of things you need to keep in mind while doing these things, and all of these features are available in Firebase, and it is very easy to host a database, do authentication, which is basically logging in a user through Google or Facebook or something. Not Facebook, but I mean, Facebook authentication is a little bit trickier, but at least Google authentication and authentication with email and in general, it is very easy to do in Firebase, and it is good. It's a good option for a beginner. But for a person who wants to work at a startup, who wants to do, who wants to build an app at a much larger scale, I feel that those people should consider different options, because Firebase does not have a lot of security rules, a lot of security measures in their particular like in like Firebase does not have a lot of security regulations. There are a lot of there can be memory leaks as well. There is absolutely no encryption, and it is very difficult to like store like files onto Firebase. And usually, like, if you, so there are two types of databases available on Firebase: real time database, which is like basically, I think I've not worked with real time, I've worked with Cloud Firestore. So Cloud Firestore is basically like a NoSQL kind of thing. It doesn't have a schema. You can like just keep expanding on it. You have different collections, and inside those collections there are different fields and stuff. So like usually the like it's a very flexible data model, and you can use it to spin up an app, maybe an MVP, like which is a minimal viable product. It is good for that, but if you want to actually scale your apps, I would recommend not to use Firebase at any like don't use it at all, like at any stage, because migrating from Firebase to another database, and like another, like making APIs and stuff, another backend option, is very tedious. And like if you already have some users on your Firebase, it is very difficult. Like it's not very difficult, but it's very inconvenient to do that. And there's no like there are absolutely no benefits to doing it, just that your development process will probably expedite a little bit, but nothing more than that. So I feel that you need to consider these options while thinking about app development. So the kind of backend options that usually people prefer is using a REST API made in Node, and and also like a database, usually SQLite if you're into like relational databases, or if not, then use MongoDB. So usually these kind of databases are more common around Flutter and mobile development in general. So yeah, that is about the backend options that you need to consider. And in order to get jobs, essentially you can either like get them through internshala. Like there are many jobs on internshala as well, and you can like probably go through the different roles that are open, although some of the roles are a little bit like questionable, I'd say. Like you never know their like you never know if they are actually like authentic or something like that. You don't know if they are a scam or something, but most of the roles are like good, and you can probably apply to them. If you get a response, that's cool, but otherwise the best option is to make your LinkedIn profile stand out. If you're a Flutter developer, put that in your headline. That was one of the things that made me stand out. So whenever someone searches for a Flutter developer, they do it on LinkedIn only. So if a startup wants a Flutter developer or an Android app developer, what they do is they first search that title on your on LinkedIn. So whatever job, like whatever are the top profiles in that, with that particular headline, they usually go through them, and then they see your profile in general. So obviously someone, if someone is a part of a startup, they want someone who is like sort of experienced, someone who has a good personality, who can communicate with others in a better way, who has some prior experience, who can show you, like who can show for their skills and their work. So if you have open source projects or something like that, if you worked at a startup before, or like if you worked at any app before, try to deploy it on Play Store. If not, if that's not possible, then just like add your code to GitHub, take a GIF or something, like take a video of your app, put it on the README so that people can sort of see what you've done. And that usually works out for most people. And for me, what worked out was that I basically like worked on a personal mobile app, and I put a GIF on it, and I used to show them that, and that usually got me most of the jobs that I have. And then it just kept building on it. You don't have to necessarily stick to one place. I stuck onto Bottle, which is my current startup, because their management is absolutely perfect. And I mean, obviously, we also have like Flutter developer and positions of mobile app development open time to time, so you can apply there as well. But there are many startups who are looking for Flutter developers and like mobile app developers in general, and you can probably like easily find them, and they can find you as well. Like try to make yourself the one who is being founded. like try to optimize your like presence on LinkedIn. That's what I'd like to say. If you want to get jobs about like about app development, for app development or mobile app development, any job for that matter, I'd say, like even if you're aiming for a web job, or a, like if you want to be a web developer or something, usually that's the way to go. And especially for tier 3 colleges, tier 2 colleges, we don't get opportunities like just handed to us. Usually in tier 1 colleges, what happens is that they get emails, like they get opportunities from different clubs, different like they have a lot of connections in their alumni network as well. So they have that kind of advantage over us, but you shouldn't let that stand in the way. Try to do this, because many tier 3 college students do this. Make an app of your own, like make a unique app, or like try to put your best effort into it and make it open source so that people can see it. And then like post about the app itself on LinkedIn. Maybe people will just contact you through that. And trust me, if you put that you are a Flutter developer or an app developer on your headline, it will help. Like it will like get you so many jobs. Like I used to get, like literally have had to remove that like piece of like phase from my headline, so that can stop receiving offers from different companies, different startups. I've literally given 10 to 15 interviews with many different people, and I didn't apply to any internship ever. I got those opportunities through LinkedIn only. So that's how powerful that tool is. And Flutter development, the amount of jobs, of amount of freelance jobs that have come in from 2019 to 2020 is astronomical, because you have so many jobs of Flutter development and app development that you can literally like get. It's just that sometimes we feel that we don't have enough Flutter developers, which is very weird, because Flutter is very like relatively easier to learn, and you can learn it within a week if you already know a programming language which is object oriented. So you can learn it within a week, at least the basics of it, and you can start building your apps. It won't take a lot of time. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for like getting jobs and stuff. And like end of rant. Welcome, like thank you for coming to my TED talk, I'd say. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope that you found it a little bit informative, and you learned something from it. Let me know if you have any doubts. I will be very willing to solve them. If you have any doubts about getting jobs in general, and then we can like probably move on to the next like a couple more things that I'd like to share with you guys with respect to the Android study jams, which is the current event that we are a part of, which these sessions are a part of. So basically, in Android study jams, we have two tracks, as I said before as well in the previous session. But for those of you who did not attend that session, I'd just like to repeat this once again, that Android study jams is a program by Google, and we have two tracks, new to programming and prior to programming track. So this is something that these are the two tracks that you have to complete. And like you can skip the first track if you already are somewhat familiar with Android app development or app development in general, and then you can just do like, or if you've done programming at some point in your life, like object oriented programming. So that's the thing, that's the only requirement. And this is basically what we what we expect from you. Now moving on to a couple more things. So if you want to be eligible for a certificate, you need to complete the prior programming experience track, and you need to complete, like I think so. Okay, wait. So there are in prior programming track, this is the prior programming track, there's the link to both the tracks in the YouTube description of this video, and you can like go to any of, like you can go to those links, and like you'll be probably landed on this particular page, and you can see there are 2 units and 5 badges each, so there are 10 badges. All you need to do is complete these 10 badges. Then what you have to do is basically to complete this form. I'll be posting the link on the YouTube chat, and I'll also like post it on Discord for people. So basically, all you have to do is fill up your details and everything, your email, because that's where you'll get your certificate, and you can like fill up this information as well, and then you have to send a screenshot of your Google developer profile, which is basically this profile right here. You just have to sign, and you'll once you complete the tracks, you will get to know what the developer profile is. They'll introduce it to you, and like as you can see, like there are many badges that I have like earned on my own. So you will also earn a lot of these badges. You'll earn 10 badges for completing the 2 tracks, and all you have to do is basically like maybe take a couple of screenshots of this page, because I'm not sure if all the badges will fit on one screenshot. So take a couple of screenshots, make sure that your name is visible, and take a screenshot. Maybe you can like just print this page as well, and like I think control P would do, and you can just print this page and just upload it onto the form as a form in the PDF form. Just upload it in PDF form to this particular form, and also there is this additional competition. So if you have like built a Android app in Kotlin before, or you can like if it's a little bit unique, different from your usual apps, you can submit a normal app as well. But if it's different, if you feel that you want your work to be recognized, just send a link to the APK of that app, and send the link, like upload the APK onto the Google Drive, onto a Google Drive, and send the link in this particular section of the form. And usually so I've made this a required section only because if you are doing these like if you're completing these tracks, you will be building at least like a couple, more than a couple, actually quite a few apps for like while in the process of learning. So I want you guys to share the link of those apps as well. So if you complete this form, after completing this form, you will receive a certificate of completion for the prior programming track. So in order to receive the certification, you need to complete the prior programming track as a must. And yeah, I mean, once you do that, you'll get a certificate from Google developers, and like with like a sign and stuff. And if your app is like really good, you'll also like get you can also get a community badge of by DSCRAIT. And if it's like really good, I would like to have a talk with you, and we can like probably discuss a bit more about it, and you can probably enter the solution challenge, which is something like which we'll discuss about in the next session that is going to happen on this channel. It will happen very soon, and we'll be giving you a lot of information about an upcoming event hosted by Google. And it's a very important event. It's like our biggest event. It's like for other committees in RAIT, it's like Tech Fest or Horizon. This is that for us, and we definitely want you all to participate, because this is the event where you will learn a lot that we've been promising you since the very beginning of this club. You will be learning all of those things during that event. So we'll be sharing more information on that. I'll quickly share this link on the YouTube chat, and then we are good to go. So thank you, Aditya. Yeah, I mean, definitely native development is a very important thing to do, to learn about. And yeah, if you guys have any doubts or anything that you'd like to share, you can do that either through the YouTube chat or through the comment section after the stream has ended. So, yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up. I hope you all complete the two tracks. They are pretty self-explanatory, and you will be able to you'll be easily guided through all of these things, all of the stuff that is there. The code labs are very easy to understand. So if you have any doubts, if you're facing any issues with this, you can ping me on Discord. I'll be also like try to be as active as possible on Discord so that I can keep you guys up to speed with this. And also one more thing is that try to make sure that your app that you submit this form by 25th of January, which is tomorrow. So if you can submit it by tomorrow, do it. It's not a hard deadline, but that is basically the deadline for Android study jams. So if you want your app to be considered a part of the Google competition, wherein all the best apps will be reviewed, the app will that you will be submitting on the form, all of those apps will be reviewed by Google developers, and they will basically go through all the good apps, and they will feature the best apps out of those apps on their newsletters and stuff like that. So that is a huge opportunity, in my opinion, and you guys can definitely take advantage of that. And I mean, you can use that in your resume. You'd be able to highlight that in your resume, and you can use the app that you're building right now to or you can put it on GitHub, and you can build an APK out of it. You can show it during your internship interviews and stuff like that. So it will be very beneficial for you as well. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Thank you so much for attending today, and I think we'll wrap up here. Yeah, thank you so much for joining, and have a good day. Bye.